Man, 2001. That was a year for a lot of great things to come out, especially in the anime department. It started a series that I still like today, while specific series like Inuyasha were still going on through this time, which was great. It also created a lot of other cool things too on the side. Of course, I would be also talking about Hellsing as part of that. Even in the video game and film or cartoon or comic or manga department, I mean, there was a lot of greatness, even in the music department. But I want to talk about one specific anime that at the time I was never really interested to watch. And this came out in 2001, and it's called Fruit Basket. Fruit Basket looked like a slice of life anime, and it is a slice of life sort of deal, and I'm not really into those sort of animes, but for a while I never really felt interested to watch it until as of recently, and I decided to watch Fruit Basket, the original, or the first iteration of Fruit Basket, the 2001 version. And I gotta say, what do I personally think after watching a quote-unquote slice of life anime that I'm not really into that much? Well, that's why you're here. Today I'll be reviewing Fruit Basket. Let's go.
Okay. Uo's gonna kill me when she finds out. But how can I tell my two best friends that I live in a tent? I can still remember how tough it was on Mom after Dad died.
A young girl by the name of Toru Honda has lost her mom and is pretty much living in a tent outside in a forest by herself, and she feels like she doesn't want to burden anybody, especially her, part of her family, like her granddad, which the house that she was going to live in is being fixed up. One day she walks by a house and talks to a man, and she ends up finding out that someone in that house actually goes to her school, Yuki. Soon after that, they allow her to stay at their home, especially after she loses her tent due to a mudslide. However, the longer she stays in this house, she finds out a secret of this family, and it is revealed that they are part of the zodiac, where if the opposite gender touches them, they turn into an animal. Yuki is a rat, Kaio is a cat, and Shigure is a dog. Throughout the story, she will encounter other parts of the family of the Zodiac, and from there the plot pretty much begins, and the question to whether or not they will erase her memory because of this.
So yeah, the plot pretty much is a slice of life mixed with comedic moments, mixed with serious moments at points. And of course, life lessons as well. The soundtrack in here can be pretty cozy at points, and the opening and endings are actually pretty good. The opening has like this very mellow tone to it, I guess. Is that the right word to say? I know the ending, for some reason, stuck in my head more than the opening. They're cozy, yet they could also be a bit sad too because of the theme of the story.
The animation for the time was actually not that bad for 2001. Compared with the newer one, of course, the newer one's going to be better, but this still holds up today. For 2001 standards, the art style is pretty good, except Toru's eyes they're so big. Some of the fight scenes at points, to be honest, there's not as much fighting, but when there is fighting, the animation actually is pretty good too. But to be honest, like I said, it's more of a slice of life than anything. Now, when it comes to the characters and everything else about it, what makes the show shine is, of course, the characters. You have to have good character developments to make a good show. This does have good character development. Toru Honda is this very kind person that would just be willing to do anything and is also apologetic. It feels like she's a burden to everybody. She's got to be the most kindest, apologetic person. And she tries to make everybody happy pretty much. She's just a nice character, while the ones living in the house are kind of a different story with different personalities. Yuki is more calm, collective, soft-spoken, but also can be pretty tough when he deals with Kaio wanting to face him. Kaio just has his attitude and easily gets mad real quick, and he just wants to have a fight, pretty much. That's his personality. Shiguro is the type of character that's both calm, funny, but also makes this woman's life miserable due to him being an author and they need more materials. Especially the fact that she tries to get him to do his job and he just slacks off. He also kind of encourages the other two to help Honda in situations, especially at one point in one of the episodes. Of course, there are so many other side characters in here that also can be interesting with their backstories. It just makes you more intrigued with them. But while the other characters are either intriguing or slightly annoying, but then you find out about them, there are some not so great characters in here as well. Well, technically it's just one, but I don't want to go into much too details. Let's just say this character that's not that great. A lot of mystery is about him until the show progresses, and then you get glimpses of this character who kind of made Yuki's life a bit humiliating when it comes to his lifestyle and how he treats others. But like I said, not much conflict happens in this show because it's more of a slice of life or just a life anime, except for one of the characters that's sort of the antagonist, but it's not like a death situation or anything. Well, I'll just stop. I'll just say the characters in here have cons but also pros. It's just fun to watch their interactions and see what they do on day-to-day basis, and even the characters that show up in here that have their backstories as well. It's got pretty much all that you'd like. I mean, if you do like slice of life anime, then you're gonna like this one. Technically, I've never really been into slice of life animes, but this was maybe the exception because I guess, I don't know, maybe the subject matter, and there's also some supernatural stuff with the zodiacs and other issues. But yeah, I actually quite enjoyed this anime. Of course, it's not going to have your action-packed stuff that most people probably would like to see, but this does have good and deep story-driven characters and the plot too, with, just life.
Like I said, I'm rarely into slice of life, but to be honest, I actually really enjoyed this, or at least the first iteration of Fruits Basket. I started to get interested in just continuing to watch this show with both the characters and, of course, the funny moments. And I get why people were saying at the time that this was good, because it is. So, of course, a lot of characters get fleshed out pretty well, even the side ones, too. And you gotta like Toro for being a very apologetic character, always wants to do everything. She's kind of reminds me a bit of my sister, how she likes to buy stuff for other people. She's kind of like that. It's just that it hurts her wallet in the process. Now, like I've already said in this review episode, I was never really interested at the time. But then, I just kept hearing about it floating around, and then the new iteration that came out. And so, I started to get kind of intrigued. Right when I started getting into it, I was curious of the differences between the two. I mean, even today, watching this is actually still fun to watch. It's funny, it's got some good moments, the characters are really good. It's more of a comedic version of the story in some aspects. It has a lot more humor. While I heard the new one is more serious. I mean, this show is pretty much all you'd like for a slice of life anime, except it's got some supernatural stuff mixed in with it, which I like, and sometimes it does have some action scenes. It's rare, but it's there. Hey, that rhymed. So yeah, I gotta say, this was technically the first time watching a slice of life anime. This is a sort of genre I'm not really into that much, but this, to me, actually works well, and I actually really got attached to it. But it also has to do, with supernatural stuff and the whole zodiac stuff. Now, while it may not have overly a lot of action for some anime people that want to get into more of the action pack, it does have those, but not a lot. It's like it's more of a slice of life anime with dealing with stuff and death and all this other stuff, sadness. But at the end of the day, all of this mixed pretty well in this one show, and I think it balances out and does a really good job in making things humorous and also sad at the same time, along with a few action scenes and some crazy moments.
Here we are, and the winner is, for dinner tonight, stewed leeks.
What is this? You trying to kill me or something?
Huh? Oh, no, not at all.
I mean, what can I say, though? I really actually quite enjoyed this anime for what it is. I mean, it's older, but if you want to go back to the 2000s, a decade that had a lot of great stuff that was already coming out, when it came to anything entertainment-wise, so many great content came out in this decade. As horrible as the year 2001 was for a specific attack that happened, which shocked the world, you have to admit 2001 still had a lot of good entertainment value. Even though it's a gloomy year for what happened. Fruits Basket is one of those animes that I would definitely say is one of those good animes. I mean, it came out around the time of some very classic animes that were airing at the time. I mean, I kid you not. It brings me back to that time, man. Like, in the end, like in the future, these animes will continue to live on and create newer iterations that follow the book in more detail. While this version is very different compared to maybe the new one, I still think it's a very fun time. And yeah, I can't really think of anything else to say about it. The original is great for what it is, because it just mixes so many good stuff together, and it works. It really works in this show. No wonder why people said that they liked it. The characters are really good. Their stories are complex. And of course, the animals and stuff. So that's pretty cool. I will note, though, when it comes to the conclusion of this anime, like other animes, it tends to just end. And it almost felt like there could be more to it. Or at least this iteration, there could have been more down the road, but they just decide to stop it at this specific point. I mean, it's not that it's bad, per se, like the ending. It's just like, there's maybe more to tell. And while I never understood why they never, like, continued on with this story, they just decided to remake the entire thing. I mean, it reminds me a bit of how Hellsing ended. Or like how Fullmetal Alchemist ended. Or even how Inuyasha ended. But then again, with Inuyasha, that did catch up to the books, and then they stopped. And then they picked up with the books right after the final act, at least. Fullmetal Alchemist, it's a little different story. They had its own thing and then ended. And then it wouldn't be until Brotherhood, years later, that they will adapt the manga. Same with Hellsing. Hellsing ends, and they had come back and they adapted Brotherhood style. With Fruits Basket, it ends, and it wouldn't be until another decade that they would do the same thing, Brotherhood style. Well, that's all I have for today. If you like this review, please follow me wherever you're watching. I would say I would definitely recommend Fruits Basket if I were you. Though probably people might lean more towards the new one. Until I fully finish it, then I will pretty much make a review for that as well. But anyways, peace.